So, Ian, this was kind of cool news and surprising. Not want to say shocking, but it's a turnaround from for what Nintendo has said in the past few years about their stance on not wanting to get into the mobile game market.
Right. So it's interesting. Nintendo has announced that they will be getting into the mobile game market through, I believe the company is called Dana. And I think they will probably have their first game ready, they said, by fall. I've always been weary of Nintendo getting into a mobile market because all I ever see on a mobile market are time wasters. And then some of the deeper games, I don't have the patience to play a deeper game on my phone. I don't. Treg, on the other hand, will beat any old RPG they put out on the iPhone. They put out Vi, they put out Dragon Quest. He'll buy them and beat them. But as Nintendo showed, and it wasn't something that I particularly cared for, but was like their little tiny free-to-play, well, that's a term Iwata doesn't like, free-to-start, which I think is a much nicer term.
So that's what the Nintendo games are going to be on the mobile devices, free to start?
Well, they think some of them will be.
There's going to be some monetary exchange involved.
They put one on the 3DS called Pokemon Shuffle. And I don't think the 3DS is the place for that sort of thing. However, mobile, it makes sense. Nintendo has a history of quality. Nintendo has a huge amount of characters that are well known and well loved. And as long as these things are developed well, I could actually see a small benefit to Nintendo entering the market, and that's people will see a Nintendo-made product and feel more comfortable about dropping some money on it, even if it's free to start, probably because they're going to be more convinced they're going to get a quality play experience out of it. I would hope.
In theory, because your first-party software, if not always interesting, is well made.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't totally fuck it with, free-to-play, but I would hope... Free-to-start. But I would hope that means you would at least get a better experience.
Yeah, they're not going to do ports of old games, which at first I was like, oh, that makes sense. They can just come out with games that are a few years old from the 3DS or whatever. But no, I think that would drop the... Even Iwata always was always wary of diminishing the value of their IPs by doing something like that.
Right. You don't... Basically, I see them doing little, card matching games or stuff like that on the phone that use their characters for familiarity. But yes, you're not going to see... He doesn't want to diminish the value of the brands, and it's because those games wouldn't play right on a smartphone. He doesn't want people to play a Nintendo game and be like, this sucks, because it's totally not the right device to play it on.
Yeah, so they don't want to cannibalize their download market for old NES, Super Nintendo games because people are paying $5-10 each for them, so they can't do that. They can't charge a couple bucks for them on a phone. Wouldn't make sense. And plus, you can't play them properly anyway. Like those Capcom games a few years ago that were put on the phone were terrible.
Street Fighter, Mega Man 2.
1942 on the smartphone. Yeah, good luck.
Well, actually, that's probably one of the better playing ones. I mean, shooters do work well because you can get 1-to-1 with it. But anyways, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I played it. 1-to-1 is, yeah. Anyway, so it's interesting. It makes sense. Obviously, the stockholders love the thought of it because it's more profit. More importantly, though, we're talking about a generation of children and kids and babies that don't understand it still. When I see like a 3-year-old using a smartphone like it's second nature, the exposure of Nintendo to get into that market that early, that pays for itself. Even if they take a small hit on their quote-unquote IP value being diminished, just the free marketing of being on the phone, and when you go into the App Store in the future, Nintendo will be the top of the list.
Yeah.
And so 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds can learn Mario, can learn Princess Peach, can learn about Luigi, can learn about Link from a very young age.
I don't want to jump quite into another topic yet, but Nintendo's mentioned that they're working on a new console, and they've stated very emphatically that they are dedicated to continuing to make game-playing devices, which is great. But yes, exactly. I mean, so many people these days are growing up with tablets that it would be... I'm still not necessarily okay with it, but it would be kind of silly on Nintendo's part to not put some branded material available for download on those when you've got kids in elementary school with with iPads and iPhones. I mean, shit, that's fucking crazy when I see a kid with an iPhone. But I mean, it's just more money for them.
I mean, we're talking about the future where I already complained about how Nintendo did not really advertise the Wii U that much. I think they have like 3 or 4 different commercials. I've ever seen maybe 3 different commercials. I saw like Mario Kart, one for the system maybe, and I can't even think of really a third one on the top of my head. This is their almost free advertising for them. You know, this,
Sure.
And it may not pay off with this generation, but think about when that 3-4-year-old thinks of Mario when he turns 8, 9, and a new console comes out. He wants that system. It's built in because you don't have Sony and Microsoft doing this. You don't have them, putting out mobile apps, and maybe this will spur them to do that. Maybe they'll see the same sort of marketing benefit of doing that.
Because what Nintendo could do is they could do what a lot of mobile games do. If they decide not to go free to start, they could, you could download the game, but in between every round, there's an ad for whatever's coming out on the Wii U or the 3DS, and then if you want, you can pay the $3 to eliminate your ads. But people are going to see them at least once or twice. It's going to put that in their mind, and like you said, they got a game for free, and the advertising is now stuck in their brain.
Yeah, they put a simplified version of a game out even maybe a year or 2 before, and there's a simplified version. Now here's the 3DS version. Now here's the Wii U version of it. It's almost like maybe they'll treat it a little bit like shareware, or like an early teaser preview game that's still good on its own, but then you get the full experience a year later. They can go in so many directions here.
You look at something like Nintendo Land, right? Or We Play, which was just these collections of mini games. Now you parcel these mini games out one at a time, but with their branded characters in them. I think that's something that you could see them doing mobily.
Sure.
Whether it's free or very cheap, or you gotta pay so much if you want to play, again right away. They're already masters at the mini game. I mean, there's 10 Mario parties,
which still astounds me. There's 10 of them. Yes.
You know what fucking astounds me? Fucking astounds me that Mario Party, a game that is only good with 4 players, still doesn't have online play. Well, I had money in my hand at work to buy a copy yesterday.
But it's a party with people around you, Ian.
I know, but
that's the point of it.
Yeah, but we already have shit we play when we get together for games. Like, I want to be able to just jump on late at night when I can't sleep and play a board game.
Really? You'd be tempted to play a board game late at night?
Yeah, I have shitloads of board games and no one plays them with me.
We're getting way off topic.
Anyways, fuck you.
What?
So
that was called for.
This doesn't matter. What shit. But anyways, you did mention something that I want to kind of just minorly correct, and that was that the stocks jumped. Their stocks did jump, I believe 36%, an insane amount. But it seems that the overenthusiasm caused those stocks to drop again. So, I mean, they're still sitting higher than they were, I believe, last week.
So it corrected itself.
Yeah,
which is what stocks tend to do for something like this.
But yeah, I mean, the huge jump was not a permanent jump. It was a hooray, yes. and then they were like, well, maybe Nintendo's overestimating what they can do here.
Oh yeah, that's what usually happens when there's an announcement for like WWE Network or whatever. There's usually, oh, this is good news, and then they come back down. Right. A lot of it's due to the casual. I don't get into stocks, but a lot of the more casual people that buy stocks will get excited about it, go online and buy it, or buy more, and you have the other people sitting back and be like, oh, let's relax here. This is a long-term thing. Let's see what the profits margins, in a year and a half are.
Right.
But so I think it's cool news. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it can only benefit Nintendo, especially since they're not going to, again, be devaluing their IPs.
Yeah, they're not going to be making any of their current good games look shitty. They're going to be developing specifically for that platform.